Good morning, everyone. Sarah here at Three Little Potters. Today I'm glazing. I have a whole kiln load of bisque ready to go, and mini projects coming to their final stages. Today I wanted to just go over with you really quick an easy way to make colored glazes. So you've probably by this point watched my video on Studio White. If not, go ahead and follow the link below. This is my favorite base glaze. So what I've done this morning is I have a measuring cup full of Studio White. This has been well mixed with the immersion blender. And what we're going to be doing is adding mason stains to our base glaze. So we've got things like, this is a Bermuda mason stain, Canary. These are a couple of my favorite mason stains, by the way. I have, what do I have here? This is dark red, although I think I do like dark red. Last year I bought a whole bunch of this deep crimson mason stain for sort of a cranberry look for fall leaf plates. And I mixed it with Hansen 20x5 recipe for clear, and I really did not like the way this glaze came out. So I'm going to try it in a smaller amount with the Studio White base and see what we get. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to mix up a small amount of these different glazes and test them out, and I will show you the final results. So when you're mixing mason stain into a glaze, you do not have to go through and say, oh, I'm going to make a 100-gram recipe and measure out all of your ingredients and then add your dry mason stain and then mix it up and do all of that. You don't need to do that. What you're going to do is you've got your big bucket of glaze already mixed and you're going to measure it out in milliliters. So we're going to do something like some of these stains that I know are worth doing, we can put in a larger amount. If I'm testing, I'm probably going to only do 100 milliliters to 200 milliliters. So I am figuring this as though it was a 100-gram recipe. I know I'm making this sound needlessly complicated. So if I put 100 milliliters in this and I add 5 grams of Canary mason stain, then I would write that down as though it was like a 100-gram recipe and that I was adding 5 grams of Canary stain per 100 grams of glaze. That was a lot. Basically what I'm trying to say is that you want to do something that's replicatable, but you don't want to waste the time of mixing the glaze for each color. So yes, 100 milliliters of water is 100 grams. So they are similar, but obviously you have your dry ingredients mixed into that 100 milliliters of water. So the overall weight of that's going to be a little different. So what we're doing here is we're going to put, well, let's start at 200. So we'll start at 200 grams of the white, 200 milliliters of the white. We'll tar it out and then we'll be adding our dry ingredients per gram into the liquid. All right, here we have our measuring beaker. And in general, we're always working metric for glaze recipes, so we're trying to get to that mark right there. Okay. So 200 milliliters of that. Okay, so I'm not concerned about how much the 200 milliliters weighs. What I want to make sure is that we're at 0 grams here. So we've basically tarred it out so that we're going to just be measuring the mason stain that we're adding. I'm not that picky, so I am just going to go ahead and add very small amounts to this until I get it. Milliliters, I'm probably thinking something like 4 grams of this per 100 grams. So something like 8 is what I'm hoping to get to. But if somewhere between 8 and 10, really. I'm not exactly sure how light of a color I want to get out of this or how big of a color. Oh, 10. I guess the answer was made for me. Sometimes you can get a little bit back off the top. What's that come out to? 9.97. That is good enough for me. So here you can just see it's just kind of sitting on the top, and we're going to go ahead and mix that in. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into glazing with this glaze that we just mixed. I am pouring it in the center of this bowl. I'd ideally like it on the outside. This is a very small Starbucks cup for this, but we'll see what we can do here. Hopefully not get it all over my table. Oh, that didn't work so great, did it? We're gonna go ahead and do this. So the problem with mixing in very small batches like this is that you don't have enough to just dip your container. But mason stains are pretty expensive, so you kind of really want to like test a glaze before you commit to making a large amount of it. All right, so this one we're going to let dry a little bit more. Here is that bowl out of the kiln. You can see here that our cranberry glaze has really burnt off to almost nothing. You can see just a hint of it here. So this recipe would need a lot more cranberry stain in it to really show. So on this bowl we have the cranberry mixed with Studio White, and then Shipwreck over top, and a little bit of Dirty Snow. So I do really like it, and it does actually tone down the blue and make it more purple in the Shipwreck, but we just need a lot more stain in that recipe. As a comparison, this is that same stain with the Hansen 25 base. So this is definitely a stain that does better on this than it does. I'm going to add a little bit of Neodymium Oxide to a bit of my white. Neodymium is one of those like straight off the periodic table, sort of a really rare oxide, and for that reason, it is very expensive. Most purple stains and ways to create purple are very expensive to do. So you'll have here, I have a tiny bit of chrome tin violet stain, and this is expensive. So, you may have noticed if you're buying commercial glazes that the price of those glazes has gone up quite a bit, and certain colors cost more. So this is why. Purple is a really hard color to find, naturally occurring, and neodymium is a great source of it, but so expensive. So we're going to try the neodymium, but we're going to try it in a very, very small amount to see what kind of purple that gives us, and maybe a 4 grams to 100 grams, something like that. I can gamble on 4 grams of it. All right, I have my neodymium double bagged here. I have just 100 milliliters. I think we're going to try something like 4 or 5 in this. 3.6. I don't want to be too stingy and then get no color at all. 3.9. 3.99. All right. Because there's such a small amount of neodymium oxide, I am not going to use the immersion blender because that's just going to mix it all over the place and it's going to spray out and I'm going to lose half of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix that in. So I feel like I'd like to just use up all of the neodymium and not have to store it. So you can see here, do you see those little spots? I probably did want to sieve it. We'll see if it comes out like crystals or if it just melts into the glaze matrix. Hopefully it just melts in. Now, if this was a Hansen glaze or a clear glaze, I would worry about having a lot of brush strokes, and I would be wanting to make a larger amount so that I could dip. But here, the Studio White glaze, because it's more forgiving, I'm less worried about that. That glaze is going to have a better coverage. So here's that neodymium glaze. This is neodymium here with the Studio White, and I have a little bit of speckled grapple over the top with a little bit of dirty snow. Here in the center, you can see it's just the neodymium. Yeah, I was surprised at only 4 grams per 100 that I got such a nice, light, bright purple glaze. So I definitely think maybe 6 grams per 100 grams would be a really cool glaze to work with. So I'm going to mix a bit of Victoria Green right now. So my glaze has been sitting a little while here. So I'm going to just kind of let that remix a little bit. So we will just go ahead and make $400 milliliters of that. This is a mason stain that I love the color of, but it's a little bit light. So we may have to go a little bit higher, more like 5, 6 grams, possibly even more, but I'm looking for a light green, so that's okay. So we've got 400 milliliters, so we're looking at 20 to 20 to 25, I guess, is something more like what I want. Now you can get very exact about this, but at some point it's really just adding a little bit of green pigment to white, kind of like, you know, mixing paint, and it's not really like, it's forgiving. You know, that 0.5 of a gram of green, if it is it going to be slightly more green? Maybe, and I couldn't care less. That's perfect. Good, slightly more green. The Victoria Green stain came out far different than I thought it would. Got sort of almost just like a light taupe color on this bowl. For comparison, this is it in the Hansen 25 base. So I was expecting a much greener green. So again, this is a stain that's probably not worth mixing with your Studio White. That's a Sabano underglaze tissue transfer. I think the glaze that worked the best out of this experiment was probably the Salmon US Pigment stain that I put into the Studio White base. Here it is here with a little bit of snow on the rim. And here it is here. This is it by itself. And then it has sangria over top here. And no problems with the sangria, no pinholes or any weirdness there. So a good solid base for that. And the salmon is very, very bright in the amount that we put in. Okay, I think the last glaze I'm going to mix up right now is going to be Canary with Studio White. And Canary is an incredibly concentrated stain. It's very, very bright. So if you are using a Canary stain, you'll often see the recipe as calling for more like 2 grams of it rather than 5 to 10. Shell pink is one of the lightest. I usually find like you need 10 grams of shell pink per 100 grams. but Canary, it's a very small amount and gets you a long ways. So we've got 400 milliliters of white. I'm going to be adding Canary, so I want something like 8 total for this recipe. Oops, I just went over. That's okay. So that is 9.7. And that is why you go ahead and put your dry ingredient in first. But as I said, I'm not picky. Do with Canary is I will add light rutile to this recipe. The reason being, the Canary is a really brassy, bright yellow. So if you can add a little bit of rutile, it's almost like tempering it down. It goes from being like neon yellow to more buttercream. So depending on how buttercream you want it, you could add a little bit more rutile and kind of get that more muted effect. So I'm going to put at least 2 grams of rutile in here, hopefully. We'll see if I overmeasure again. And remember, if you do overmeasure, just go ahead and mark it down so that you know how much you put in case you love the result, then you can replicate it later. Okay. So here we are with some Canary and rutile sitting on top of our white, Studio White glaze. I feel like the Canary also did a really great job in the Studio White base. My application could have been a little bit thicker on the outside of this dish. So this was the Canary Yellow, and then over top here I have a bit of the Stroke and Coat Vanilla Custard, speckled Stroke and Coat. So you can see that, and that's playing really well with the Studio White, the Canary glaze. So I think we've got some mixed results here. I thought overall that the Studio White would look better with all of those stains than it did. I think that the Hansen base glaze, the clear base glaze, looks a little bit better with all of these mason stains than what the Studio White looks like. So why not just stick with the clear? Well, my clear glaze does not work well with my commercial glazes, whereas the Studio White base I know works very well with all of the commercial glazes. So if I can find any stain that does work well in Studio White, it gives me a really wide new palette. It basically gives me, I think I have like 75 commercial glazes, so I get this huge expanded palette that I can work with. So it's worth testing and experimenting to see if you can get that different base color that you know works with commercial glazes. Whereas I found that the Hansen base often will crawl or have different problems with some of my different commercial glazes. So it's kind of a trial and error, what works, what doesn't work. But yeah, I'm going to keep attempting to get some more colors into that Studio White and see what kind of new bases I can get to work with. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gives you some ideas of how you might mix glazes in your own studio without possibly having to mix all of the dry ingredients. So have a good day, everyone.